The
They
door to the
believe they have
rancho
found us,
closes
which
behind you.
means our time
It's a
is
shack
running out.
made of black
We must
plastic
act
bags and
now.
rotting wood, hidden so deep in the gully that the sun never fully hits the dirt floor. The air smells like wet earth, cheap cigarettes, and sweat. 17 of them are sitting in a circle on cinder blocks and milk crates. They're all looking at you, not with anger, not with curiosity, with patience. You've been waiting for this for months. You stood on the corner for 18 hours a day. You ran packages without knowing what was in them. You took a beating from a rival clique just to prove you wouldn't run. Now, you're inside. An older homie, one with a teardrop tattoo that's already fading into a scar, stands up. He doesn't smile. He walks over to you. He hits you, hard, open palm across the face. It stings. You don't react. That's the first test. He looks at the others and nods. You just passed level 1. Level 1, the Pato. You are a Pato, a rookie, a civilian who has been granted the privilege of standing near the fire. You don't have a vote. You don't have a say. You have 2 functions, observe and serve. You live in a house with 15 other dudes. You sleep on the floor by the door. So if the police kick it in at 3 a.m., you're the first one they see, which means you're the first one to get hit, giving the veterans in the back room those extra 3 seconds to flush the work or grab the rifle. You don't complain about the floor. You don't complain about the fact that you haven't showered in 4 days because the water got shut off and the money from the corner went to the caja, the communal fund, not to you. You learn the language of silence. When a car backfires on the main road, everyone in the room freezes. You freeze too. You watch their eyes. They're watching the door. After 10 seconds, they relax. You learn that relaxation is a privilege you don't have yet. Your job is the corner, the postura. You stand there 12 hours a day. You look for cops. You look for rivals. You text the burner phone in your sock every 30 minutes to confirm you're not dead. If you see a white sedan with tinted windows, you don't run. You whistle. You give the people on the block those extra 5 seconds. You clear $200 a week, but you never touch it. It goes to the homie who drives the pickup truck. It goes to the lawyer for the guy who got picked up last week. It goes to the family of the homie who got killed last month. You learn that money is not yours. Money is the organization's blood, and you are just a vein. At night, you listen to the veterans talk. They talk about business in El Salvador. They talk about who is snitching in the D.C. suburbs. They talk about the corredor, the corridor, and how the Mexicans are squeezing the taxes. You don't ask questions. You already know the answer. The answer is always, you don't need to know. Level 2, the chequeo. You've been a pato for 6 months. You haven't been jumped in yet. You're still a civilian, but you're a trusted civilian. One night, the homie with the teardrop pulls you aside. He asks you a question. Do you want to be down for your neighborhood? You say yes. You have to say yes. There is no other answer. The chequeo is the interview, but it's not a conversation. You're taken to a separate location, a basement, a garage, somewhere with concrete floors that are easy to clean. There are 4 veterans there. They're the ones who will decide if you live or die. They ask you about your mother. They ask you about your first arrest. They ask you about the time you saw a rival homie at the 7-Eleven and you walked the other way. They're looking for weakness. They're looking for fear. If you hesitate, if you cry, if you look away, you're done. Not just rejected. Sometimes done means dead. You can't leave the program. You tell them about your cousin who got killed in San Miguel. You tell them you want revenge. You tell them the gang is your family now because your real family gave up on you. They nod. This is the right answer. They're looking for a total vacancy, a soul that has been evicted so the gang can move in. They tell you to come back tomorrow night. Level 3, the 13 seconds, la bienvenida, the welcome. You're standing in the middle of the circle again. This time there are more of them, 30, maybe 40. They form 2 lines facing each other. It's called the estera, the gauntlet. You have to run through it, but it's not just running. As you pass, they hit you. Fists, feet, belts, pipes. It lasts 13 seconds. That's the rule. 13 seconds for the 13. You're supposed to stay on your feet. You're supposed to fight back. If you fall and don't get up, they keep hitting you until you do. If you can't get up, you weren't meant for this. You take a breath. You run. The first hit lands on your ear. It rings. The second hits your ribs. You feel something crack. You throw a wild punch at a shadow. You connect with a jaw. Good. They like that. You make it to the end. You're bleeding from your lip. Your eye is swelling shut. You can't breathe right. One of the veterans, the one running the ceremony, looks at you. He hands you a joint laced with PCP. You take a hit. It burns. Then he hands you a knife. It's heavy. It's real. He points to a figure standing at the edge of the light. It's a rival, or a snitch, or just some guy who owed money. You don't know who he is. You don't ask. That's the point. Make him pay, the veteran says. You walk toward the figure. Your legs are shaking. Your ribs scream. You realize that the beating was just to get you loose, to get you high on adrenaline and pain. This is the real test, the moral event horizon. You raise the knife. The guy doesn't beg. He knows the rules. He just stares at you. You realize you're not a person anymore. You're a tool, and tools don't have feelings. You do what you have to do. When it's over, you're covered in it. You walk back to the circle. They're all smiling now. They hug you. They pat you on the back. They give you a new name, a street name. You are no longer the name your mother gave you. That person is dead. You are born. You are a homeboy, a full member of the clique. Level 4, the soldado. You are a soldier. You have rank. You have a vote in the clique meetings. You have a say in who gets taxed on the block. But being a soldier means you are the tip of the spear. You handle the muscle. When a store owner on the boulevard refuses to pay the rent, you visit him. You don't kill him, not yet. You break a finger, maybe an arm. You show him the consequence. You take his phone and call the number. You tell them the payment is late. You collect. You're carrying a pistol now, a .38 snub nose. It's old, but it's reliable. You keep it tucked in your waistband behind your back. The metal is cold against your skin, but you're getting used to it. You sleep with it under the pillow. You learn the math of violence. One broken arm equals $500 in back taxes. One murder equals respect, but it also equals police attention. You learn to calibrate. Too much violence brings heat. Too little makes you look weak. You walk a line. You're 19 years old. You've seen 4 of your friends die in the last year. 2 from rivals, 1 from cops, 1 from internal discipline. He was skimming from the caja. You watched them beat him in the rancho. You didn't look away. You couldn't. At night, you listened to the veterans talk. They talk about business in El Salvador. They talk about who is snitching in the D.C. suburbs. They talk about the corredor, the corridor, and how the Mexicans are squeezing the taxes. You don't ask questions. You already know the answer. The answer is always, you don't need to know. Level 5, the primera palabra. You've been a soldier for 2 years. You've survived. That's rare. Most of the guys you started with are dead or in prison. You're still here. You've got a reputation for being cold, for being efficient. The older guys notice. One day, the leader of your clique, the primera palabra, the first word, calls you to the rancho. Just you and him. He tells you he's moving up. He's going to the ranfla, the state-level leadership. He needs a new primera palabra for this clique. He picks you. Now you're in charge of 25 soldiers. You're in charge of the corner. You're in charge of the money. You're responsible for making the quota for the guys upstate. You stop carrying a gun. It's beneath you. You have soldiers for that. You carry a phone. That's your weapon. You coordinate. You tell Soldier A to go to the stash house. You tell Soldier B to pick up the package from the associate at the laundromat. You never touch the product. You never touch the cash. Your hands are clean. You sit in the rancho all day. You listen. You adjudicate disputes. 2 soldiers are arguing over a girl. You tell them to settle it in the ring. Fists only. Loser buys the beer. You maintain order. You start wearing nicer clothes, clean sneakers, a gold chain. You're making money now.
Real money. $2,000 a week. You have a girlfriend who doesn't ask questions. You have an apartment with a bed. You sleep on a bed for the first time in years. But you don't sleep well. You lie awake, listening for the door. You realize the loneliness of command. You can't be friends with the soldiers anymore. You have to discipline them. You have to send them to do things you wouldn't do yourself. You were the brain. They're the hands. Brains and hands don't hang out. Level 6, the run flitto. You get a call. It's from a number you don't recognize. You answer. It's the runfla, state leadership. They want you to come to a meeting, not in the gully, in a house, a nice house in the suburbs, the kind with a lawn and a fence. You drive there yourself, no soldiers. You're not afraid. You're beyond fear now. You meet the